Philippine Coast Guard drive away Chinese warship in the disputed island near the South China Sea. The Philippine Coast Guard said Monday it had challenged a Chinese warship that entered the country's territorial waters in the South China Sea last week but eventually sailed away. The BRP Cobra was patrolling near Marie-Louise Bank, about 147 nautical miles, 87 kilometers, off the coast of El Nido town in Palawan province, when it spotted the Chinese ship, the Coast Guard said. The incident occurred a day after the 5th anniversary of a landmark international arbitral ruling that affirmed Manila's rights to its territories in the South China Sea and declared Beijing's claims over most of the contested waterway as baseless. The Navy warship had a flag of the People's Republic of China and was marked by Chinese characters, Coast Guard spokesman Commodore Armand Balilo said in a statement. BRP Cobra calmly raised a radio challenge while monitoring the movement of the said ship using radar, Balilo said. The PCG vessel moved closer to see more clearly the activity of the Chinese Navy warship in our waters, he said, using an acronym for the Philippine Coast Guard. The Chinese warship, Bow No. 189, maintained silence, forcing the Philippine Coast Guard ship to use a long-range acoustic device to broadcast audible notifications and warnings. It broke its silence and sent a radio message after the Philippine Coast Guard ship continued its challenge. Philippine Coast Guard 4409, this is Chinese Navy warship 189. Please keep 2 nautical miles distance from me, the local Coast Guard quoted the message as saying. Only then did the Chinese ship turn around to leave Marie-Louise Bank, Balilo said, adding that the BRP Cobra followed to ensure that the foreign ship left the country's exclusive economic zone. The Philippine Coast Guard said the crews strictly followed the manual on enforcing rules within the EEZ. This is to ensure that we follow a rules-based and peaceful approach in guarding our democracy and that the rights of the Philippines to protect its sovereignty are protected. Officials in Manila did not immediately respond when Benner News, an RFA-affiliated online news service, contacted them to ask if this was the first incident involving a Chinese-marked warship since a dispute over Chinese ships in the Philippine EEZ began in March, or why they waited nearly a week to release details about the incident at sea. Last month, BRP Cobra chased away 5 Chinese and 2 Vietnamese ships that had been monitored in the country's waters, according to the Coast Guard. Backed by other ships on April 27, it chased away 7 Chinese ships from Sabina Shoal, National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon Jr. said at the time. The shoal is 130 nautical miles, 241 kilometers, west of Puerto Princesa in Palawan province, within the EEZ. The United States, Japan, Australia, and other countries, meanwhile, have backed the Philippines, urging China to follow international norms and stop its expansionist moves in the sea region. The Philippines is restoring a military agreement with the United States that makes it easier for U.S. forces to move in and out of the country and signals to China a renewed commitment to the 70-year-old U.S.-Philippine alliance. Philippine Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced the restoration of the Visiting Forces Agreement, VFA, in a joint news conference in Manila on Friday. The VFA gives U.S. military aircraft and vessels free entry into the Philippines and relaxes visa restrictions for U.S. military personnel. It is seen as important to Washington to be able to act to protect the Philippines under the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty between the two nations. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte had previously vowed to terminate the agreement but had repeatedly pushed back the expiration date, maintaining it until the end of the year.